Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for another episode of Counterpoint, the third episode now. We're rolling, we're rocking and rolling. Both have done really well on respective channels, so big up to everyone who's supporting the videos, supporting One Leeds, supporting Just Joe, and all them other content creators out there as well. Please do smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. The mad thing is, I was gonna like do some funny with the title, like something like, well, there is no counterpoint this week because, you know, every Leeds fan, man and his dog and everything in between is absolutely buzzing after what was a phenomenal performance last Thursday night when we absolutely demolished Norwich City. We're going to be talking about that. We're then going to be looking ahead to Sunday's game, which is now just 6 days away. So soon come. So we're going to talk about that. I have put a poll in the chat about what formation do we go with, because I know me and Conor, having spoke offline, are quite worried about their midfield, specifically Will Smallbone and Flynn Downs and Aribo. And maybe their midfield is, I know Leeds fans won't like to hear it, it's probably better than Leeds United's. So we need to have a chat about that. And then we're going to have a little chat about probably Josh Sargent and whatever else comes to mind. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat. Andy Rowe asks you off the bat, hope you are doing fantastically well. Are you?
Yeah, mate. Had a good weekend. Me and you have been. It's like good vibes only at the minute. Obviously, you were doing your thing with your missus the other day. We were having a bit of a chat. I was doing my thing with my missus yesterday. Pause. But yeah, we had a little bit of a walk in the peaks, mate. So it was nice, good. Like that. Got nice and sunburnt. So yeah, mate. It was all good. What about you? Had a good one?
Yeah, tired. I finished, I caught up on Planet of the Apes because I'm going to go watch the new one this weekend. Yeah, I love them films, man, Caesar and all that jazz. Did that. What else did I do? Cooked some dinner. Yeah, I'm excited actually for Saturday because I'm going on, it sounds mad, but our lass has never been on the metro, even though she's lived in the northeast all her life, but she's drove since she was about 17.
The metro.
I know. So I'm actually taking her on the metro, and we're just going to get off spots and go and investigate, then get back on. So I'm actually excited for that.
What is it like? What is it like? Just like it's almost. You know, have you ever heard of the one? I think it's from Leeds. Oh no, it's through like Lancashire to Yorkshire, where you get off at like every stop and you have a beer at the train station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like it's like a massive thing, and you just get absolutely wellied after like the 8th, 9th stop. Is it sort of like that with you without the beer because you know alcohol?
Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, the sites aren't as nice in the northeast, so probably not. Nah, you're looking at like I don't know, Wall's End and stuff like that. It's not nice. I can't lie, it's not nice. Sorry, any people from the northeast, but it ain't a great place. If I'm honest.
Well, I'd push back a little bit, Joe. Northumberland is one of my favourite places.
Yeah,
I'd say that. Oh, I love it, mate. Going to see houses in November, which should be nice.
Nice. There's a place actually I do want to go that I've not gone that is in Northumberland. It is Bamber Castle.
Yeah, Bamber Castle. Yeah.
Where they filmed Last Kingdom. Have you seen Last Kingdom on Netflix?
Yeah.
So they filmed that there, and apparently there's actually a Last Kingdom like feature within the castle now. So I'm like, yeah, I am Uhtred of Bebbanburg and all that jazz.
I am Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
It's so true, man. That was actually filmed in Seaham parts of it as well, and the on the Blast Beach. So yeah, that's actually really cool. So Bamber Castle, I will go there. Driving test on Saturday, so I might be able to drive myself soon, mate. So fingers crossed.
Nice. You could have
amazing weekend,
an unbelievable weekend, or the shittest weekend.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. So yeah,
make or break for Joe Wainman.
Exactly. I might turn the channel off on Monday if I failed and Leeds have been relegated. Sorry, staying in the championship. Although I was saying, I said on a video this morning, bro, like Legion I need to get back to the Premier League to start challenging City, because it's becoming a bit of a farmers' league, isn't it? So they need us back there to stop them getting a 5p, if ever that is a thing.
Yeah, but Arsenal won the 4-point cup there, didn't they? So it doesn't matter that City won the title.
Class. Are you going on Sunday? Were you lucky enough?
Do you know what, mate? I'm trying. Do you know? I think this is how desperate I've got. I got so desperate. So earlier on in the year, me and my mate went to Germany, and we got tickets for Dortmund. So we were in the yellow wall, which was unbelievable. But
Wow.
we paid an extortionate amount, of which I think I was paying back for about 4 months after. But I went on this daft site, and I had a look at this daft site again. You know, like where it's bad, it's really bad. But Leeds, they either must buy them in bulk. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Or Leeds like sell them to these companies so they can get retail value off these tickets or more on top of that. I'm not sure how it works, but basically, I was looking at these sites, mate, and right now, the cheapest ticket in the Leeds end is 665 quid. Wait till this. The booking fee is 290 quid. Which is insane, mate. So I don't think I can afford it, man. I don't know whether I'm going to go into Leeds or whatnot.
You can,
we did that time.
Yeah. Which will be lit, by the way. Which will be lit. You know, Millennium Square and all that jazz will be class. I'm surprised the club aren't doing a beanbag. I think they're missing a trick. They'll get loads of people buying tickets. I think you can pay $4.99 for a Wembley, like a Wembley specific ticket. That puts you in a box or something, so that'll save you some cash, but that's not in the Leeds end. I've seen this morning on Twitter as well that it is £20 to become a Southampton member, and members say tickets go on sale to members tomorrow for Southampton, and I don't think there's any sort of like you have to have been to X amount of games. Well, there isn't, so I said this before, Southampton didn't sell out their allocation for the bloody West Brom game, so how are they going to get 36,000 in Wembley?
Imagine sitting in there if they beat us.
100%.
Like that is just... Oh, mate, I don't think I could think of anything worse. Like that, it'd just be horrendous. Awful.
Yeah. And they'd know your face as well, you'd imagine. So it'd be like, you'd have that guy like Jeff Hardy coming over dancing in your face. Did you see that guy?
Yeah. We had me and obviously my dad came with us yesterday, so we met my family and we went up Mantor, if anyone's heard of it. It's just like it's in the Peak District, and we're walking up, and me and my old man were doing a video. It's just a stupid video that we're talking about the Southampton game, and immediately, like, this guy starts turning around in front, and I was a bit like, is he all right? And then I thought, oh, he's a Leeds fan here. He's clocked us. So I've got my phone up like here, and Dad's talking. Then he turns around and he goes, all right, mate. And I was like, all right. You know, like, because you said, Joe, people just say, all right, mate, to you as if, like, you've had a conversation before. And he goes, all right, mate. And he goes, I'm a Southampton fan. Were you talking about Leeds then? And I went, yeah. And he goes, oh, get me on. So for like 2 minutes, I'm just filming this Southampton guy. And he's saying he's got 2 tickets to Wembley and all this sort of stuff. And they've not sold that many tickets yet and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, you jammy git.
Yeah. It's funny, actually, you mentioned that. I took the kids and my missus. We went up to... in Middlesbrough the other week, or what's it called? Rosebery Topping. And as we're going in, there's a guy with a Norwich City shirt there, and I just started chatting to him. Yeah, it's mad, actually, because I've never, ever come across a Norwich City fan in the North East, apart from before that game.
I don't think I've ever come across a Southampton fan, ever.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Luke better said, I sat in the Donny end when they beat us. That must have been torture as well. It was 1-0, wasn't it? Yeah, my brother was at that game as well. I remember him phoning me after, and he said it had like someone had died on the way out of Wembley. So, yes, hopefully it won't be like that. But before we look ahead to that, mate, Norwich, you were at the game.
Yep.
Some are saying it was the best atmosphere they've ever been to. Certainly the best performance of the season, and what a time to save it for, mate. It was... liquid Leeds. It was great, wasn't it? Everything we touched just turned to goals and was quality.
Yeah, they were unbelievable. Touch on the atmosphere first. Derby was unbelievable. I was fortunate enough to be there for Pride Park and Ellen Road, but the atmosphere was unbelievable. But there was I don't know, Joe, I felt in that game it was very tense still. There was a bit of there's still a bit of hatred and anger. It felt a little bit more visceral than this game did indeed. And it just felt everyone was united again. Everybody was just trying to encourage the lads so much. Like, I was sat in the West Stand, and even The West Ham was quite loud, to be honest with you.
Yo,
so.
bro, I seen your video and I went, oh, look, oh, he sat there. Because I know you've been sat in the South, Sam.
Yeah,
I seen you doing the I Predictor Riot, and I was saying, yeah, it's not hitting the same as it was in the South.
yeah, you're struggling really for concept when you're in the West. But yeah, it was good, mate. It was probably like, I wasn't at the Leicester game, so I couldn't experience that, and the whole game was apparently unbelievable as well. They were like obviously the 3-1s, weren't they, when we came back into it, and we were probably both games as an argument that the other team was on top for large periods, but I think that was almost relief. But this game, I mean, the atmosphere was insane. It was unbelievable. Yeah, probably. I said to my old man yesterday, it was up there with, do you remember Millwall in the playoffs in League One? I'd say it was up there with that one. But the performance was, I think it's I was looking because I thought, was Ipswich better? Because you got to look at the calibre of performance, and Ipswich, they didn't touch the ball for 90 minutes. We were the better team by a country mile. It was a brilliant performance. But this Norwich game, I even thought the underperformers, like I've obviously got the not underperformers as such throughout the whole season, because one of them hasn't been playing throughout the whole season. The other one hasn't actually, but recent underperformers were arguably some of the best players on the pitch. And you look at Gruev, Perot was unbelievable. Perot, I never knew he had that in his locker. It was a proper striker's performance. I thought it was insane. And Meslier, for me, it was his performance of the season. I thought he was consistent on all fronts, and we kept the ball away from him for large parts, which is good. But I thought when he was called upon, but not just the Sargent save, his handling for a couple of corners was really good. His distribution, he was getting some real length on it, and I thought we were picking up the second balls, and it worked quite nicely. But yeah, mate, on and off the pitch, Leeds, like you said, it was liquid Leeds. They were at that, and that's why, Joe, it gets so frustrating sometimes. And a lot of your subscribers, obviously, some of them might not come to me, which is understandable because I can be a bit of a pessimistic git. But that's why I get so annoyed at it, mate. That's why I get so annoyed at it.
Yeah, because you know the levels.
That's the level, mate. That is the level that we can perform. We understand it can't be week in, week out. Yeah. But post-international break, how dire it's been, when you produce that level, that's why it gets frustrating, mate, for me.
Yeah, I hear you, because it was like, it was like I said, it was Leeds pre-international break when we were blowing teams out of the water. I mean, it took Pirro 48 games to play a proper number 9, but he did it. And then, it was only a couple of days before there's noise that Leeds might look to sell him if they go up, and I'm going, I can see it. And then he puts in that, and you think, oh, hang on, let's hold back if he can give us that. I know it's only one game. You mentioned Meslier. Farker after in his post-match was like, he's the best keeper in the league. And I was like, yeah, I've been saying that. But then I thought, no, for the last few weeks you've hammered him. So you can't. Otherwise, I'd have put up a short and everything like that. See, I told you.
Yeah, go watch Counterpoint on my channel. Last week, you know what Joe was saying about Meslier.
Yeah, not great. But I do think, I know we were 2-0 up, and we probably still could have gone on and won the game. But if they'd have scored so quick after we'd gone 2-0 up, you're then looking at a derby type of nervousness, aren't you, in the ground? So it was such a key save from Mez.
Yeah, it was. It was a top save as well, And I think you were saying as well on the Counterpoint last week that you were saying you've never really worried about him 1v1.
No,
yeah, and I think shot stopping, you are right. It's weirdly different, because you're thinking of a shot maybe 20, 25 yards out. Is he going to be able from that range? I don't think he's great from that range, to be honest. I think his positioning can be quite off, but that 1v1, I mean, do you know what I love, Joe? I compared it, I don't know if you saw it, but do you remember Southampton at the start of the season when we lost 3-1 down there? There was the Adam Armstrong goal where he got in, and it was at a ridiculous angle, and he sort of chipped Ilan Meslier, but Meslier went down really quickly, and he didn't use any of his size, any of his stature. And I think Meslier can be culpable with that. He doesn't use his frame. He's 6'7", and he looks, I mentioned on a video the other day that he looks 5'7" at points. And that game, because in all fairness, the Sargent effort was a good effort. He got some good loft on the ball. It was a decent chip, but Meslier stood tall. He didn't go down quickly. Hand up, used all of his length, all of his frame, and it was a top save. It was a top save, and like you said, I think that goes 2-1 just before half time. You're thinking, God, the chances that we've missed. Do we get a bit edgy coming out in the second half? Yeah,
I think the big, because sometimes goalkeepers, and listen, I'm not a goalkeeper, so I shouldn't really comment. But like they can make saves, but they've just thrown the body at it. I think I know that's goalkeeping in a sense, but the most impressive thing was Meslier, like you say, is that he stayed tall and waited to the last moment to then put his arm up and then slap the ball away. You know, I thought it was a top save. And yeah, just to look ahead then, because this is something that's been playing on my mind. You mentioned Pirot, played phenomenal. Bamford should be back for the final. Is there a case? I mean, because I'm saying, and I said this even before Pirot put in a good performance, and people, I sort of become frustrated with Bamford in terms of he's always not available at the end, and I know he sort of can't help that, but I almost felt like, and I've said, and people will tell you, even if we get to the final, I don't want him to start. I want him to, be on the bench. I think after Pirot's performance, it even more foolproofs that. But how do you think Farke will tackle that? If the presser this week, and he gets asked, is Bamford good? He goes, yeah, he's trained all week, good to go. How do you, because one game, let's be honest, in the 9 Pirot's had that's been great, and I know you're not Bamford's biggest fan, but he's got more credit in the bank playing in that role this season. So how do you think Farke will see that? Or what would you do? Do you just go, same Pirot, he has to start?
God, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we look at that game at Ellen Road against Southampton. Obviously, I mean, look, it felt like a different Leeds team, even though it was only like a week ago.
Yeah.
The styles make fights. And look, Norwich, we've beaten them 3 out of 4 times now. Tactically, it feels like Farke's got the number a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Southampton, me and you have had chats about this. They are a completely different proposition to this Norwich side. Completely different. And I feel people are getting a bit ahead of themselves. Seen it online a little bit. Oh, well, look what we've done to Norwich. So we're definitely going to batter Southampton. It's not going to be like that at all. I think me and you both know that. And he's got to get the midfield right. That's where it's won and lost. But the strike is such an interesting chat, mate, because I noticed Meslier was lofting the ball a little bit more against Norwich. I don't know if that was sort of evade a press or, to enact Leeds, maybe winning the second balls off Pirot up against one of their centre-backs. Is Pirot going to have the same success against a Bednarek, a Jack Stevens, a Taylor Howard-Bellis? Well, recent proof, he was completely anonymous. He scored. They scored, obviously, didn't they? But for the entire game, he was completely anonymous. Anonymous. So Bamford, you at least know he's going to give you that physicality if you do want to play that long ball. I guess in front of goal, mate, massive chance. Hypothetically, we get it at Wembley. Who do you want in front of it?
Yeah,
that's the chance. That's the conversation, isn't it? I guess.
And everyone knows the answer to that. I think everyone says Pirot, right? Like, Pirot's that guy. Even that goal against Southampton, it takes a deflection, but he strikes it so clean, whereas Bamford, maybe not so. Maybe tries to pick his spot. I don't know. So I think, if we want it to drop to any player, I think the majority of the fan base go Pirot, but like you say, structurally, it's an interesting one. But then again, prior to Norwich, we play 4-3-3, we go away, we get a point, then we play them, and he's gone back to a 4-2-3-1. I don't know what your reaction was, mate, but I was actually like, oh no, I can't believe he's done that. I was actually quite critical of the fact that he'd done it, and obviously how wrong was I, because we went and battered them. What was your reaction when you seen he'd gone from 4-3-3 back to the 4-2-3-1?
I did, yeah. I don't know if I had an inkling that he'd do it just because of what we'd done to Norwich at home, and obviously we've beaten him twice now playing the 4-2-3-1. So I didn't think he'd go far away from it. I thought I loved what he did at Norwich 4-3-3. He's been pragmatic. He's adapted his tactical plan at the beginning for another team, taking him 46 games, but he's done it at last.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Me and you spoke about that, didn't we? And I think he's been at fault at points for not doing that, but it was nice to see him do that. The 4-3-3 would have been interesting, wouldn't it? And I'd have been all right with it. I'd have been okay with it, but I guess the 4-2-3-1, mate. How were we able to judge though, Joe? Because this is what gets frustrating. Because me and you talk about these things all the time. We do daily Leeds uploads. How can you go from what they've done against South? The proof is in the pudding. Recency bias, right? They've got battered by QPR. They got demolished by Southampton. They had the 2-1 score was kind, in my opinion, on Leeds for the amount of control they had. how are we then to predict? And the Norwich game away, don't get me wrong, was a really good tactical plan. We'd done well, but we didn't look threatening, Joe. So you've got three games there where we're completely, really not threatening in front of goal. The XG reflected that. So then you're going into this game against Norwich. Where does that come from? You know, where you are just quality everywhere. I mean, you couldn't have predicted that, mate. I couldn't have predicted that. So the 4-2-3-1, yeah, we were probably thinking to ourselves, maybe there's a likelihood he goes back to that. But that level of performance, mate, we can't judge on what he should and what he shouldn't have done, because the performance levels for 3 games previous and arguably 8 games, you know, a culmination of 8 games post-international break, were nowhere near that level. So I thought whatever tactical plan he went with, mate, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, it was going to be narrow. I thought it was going to be really narrow the other night, but they stepped it up. And that's what Leeds can do. But what Leeds are we going to see in the final, mate? Who knows?
That's the thing, innit? And that's where I did put a poll in the chat just to get everyone's sort of thoughts on how we set up in the final. 56% have gone 4-2-3-1, 44% have gone 4-3-3. And I think the reason we have this conversation is because we look at where Southampton's quality lies. And for me, it is in the centre of the park with, you know, your Aribo, Flynn Downs, and Will Smallbone. Will Smallbone, again, I was saying to you before, it's like he's got a force field around him. He's just able to ghost from the centre of the pitch and just find himself in the box. And he did it against West Brom and finished with a plum to get their first goal.
He seems really fit, doesn't he, mate? Like, physically, he's just up and down and up and down.
And then Flynn Downs, as I say, deep line playmaker. He's class, isn't he? You know, I was speaking to a West Ham fan, Danny Lawless, and he said he can't wait for Lopetegui to get hold of him because he thinks he's a quality player and a Premier League player. So, and he is very good. So with that in mind, mate, like, because one thing that Martin did ahead of our game, he went with sort of like a 3-5-2, and Jamie's mentioned he expects them to do the same. You know, against West Brom, they went with a back 4. Against us, he put Stevens, Bednarak, Harwood, Bellis, and then he had Kyle Walker-Peters, and I forget who played left wing back. I don't know if it was Manning who started against
Fraser
us.
came on, didn't he? Fraser came on at one point.
True, yeah. So I expect him to go with that as well, and obviously that means they will have that free midfield. Shea Adams potentially back as well. Can't get away from how good of a side they are, and the fact that they've beaten us and they've won that midfield battle, mate. So do you think it's more favourable to go with the 3 in midfield initially and then see how the game pans out, or do we just have to impose our game and hope that it works, because it hasn't already this season?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Do you look to stifle them? They've beaten us comfortably 4-2-3-1 twice, I feel. Or do you add more bodies in the midfield? Did Archie look great at Norwich? No, but he had a job. You know, do you literally man mark Will Smallbone out the game, or Flynn Downs out the game, who seems to be like the orchestrator of everything that happens? The performance levels have definitely got to increase. We know that. But it is a. I mean, we have to be transparent here. It's a massive worry that they've dominated the midfield in 2 consecutive games against us. Like, no, they're the only team to do a double over us, and I think the reason they've done that is that midfield. I think you can get at their defence 100%, especially if they've got a 3 at the back. I think we can press them a lot more aggressively, like West Bromwich Albion did in the first leg, mate, and they got a lot of joy, but they just couldn't finish. And I think up front we're able to deal with that as well. I'm not worried about that. It is that midfield. So yeah, maybe the 3 is the best way to go. I look at Grove and I look at Kamara in there, and if they've got, like you said, a 3-5-2. And maybe they're inverting a little bit as well. And they're getting, Joe, you may be getting you're getting a Kyle Walker-Peters sort of making a sort of a 4 at some points in the midfield, and then a Ryan Manning dropping back, and it's sometimes going into a 4-4-2. Yeah, that's a big worry because they'll outnumber us in there. I think in that game recently, mate, you saw as well that Greve and Kamara couldn't deal with them physically. Then another thing, they're massive, aren't they, Joe? So Aribo's about 6'2", Smallbone's about 6'1". You know, who's the other one? Flynn Downs looks about 6'1" as well. So they're a physical team in that midfield as well. So yeah, I mean, do you know what I'd love, Joe? I'd love for us to go to a 3-5-2, to be honest, and match him up. But I don't think he'll do that. No. So yeah, mate, I think I would be tempted to go with a 4-3-3, but at the same time, I'd like us to be a bit different in the 4-3-3. I'd like us to press a little bit higher. If VAR is part of the final, which I think it is. It'd be
it
interesting. Be interesting to see, mate, if as a unit we pushed up and then played for offsides.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting, you know. But yeah. I think I would go for it. What would you do? I think I would go for a 4-3-3.
Yeah,
but then Joe, to add to that, how good was Archie at right back?
Yeah. Oh, I remember being told he can't play there, son. Remember that?
Yeah.
Nah, he was phenomenal there, and like you say, we didn't create a lot at Carrow Road, but he did his job in there, didn't he? I'm the same as you because I'm just shitting myself about what Southampton can bring. They're the team. Look, like you mentioned, they're the team that did the double against us. The only team that did the double against us and looked comfortable in both games doing it. This is the point, and there is context. I think you mentioned it before. I've seen many people mention it. The back line against Southampton at St Mary's, was pish. In this game, Farker said he went for it, although when you actually watch it, we were just disjointed. I don't know if you could class it as going for it. There was just gaps everywhere. We were easy to play against in that final game, and that won't be the case on Sunday, you'd hope. But I do worry about, like you've mentioned there, Kyle Walker-Peters has been doing it all season, coming into midfield, and then if you've got 4 in there, and we've only got the 2, I do worry about that, and so I would probably try and negate what they have first, like defence first. But is that the right attitude for us to have? Because you then go, no, but we're Leeds United, we're third, we finished 90 points, we should be the aggressor, we should go and take the game to them. I just feel that my nerves are that high with it. I feel that the first goal, Conor, could be so crucial in this game, massive.
I think as well, like I don't know about you, but when he said that he'd almost like made a different tactical plan and he pushed the midfield up higher. And I watched that game and I thought, you haven't pushed the midfield up higher. So I don't, have you told them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, are they supposed to be playing higher as in Grave and Kamara? And then obviously they just got completely picked off to an even worse extent than we saw at St Mary's. So, yeah, mate, I don't know. I don't know what he does. It's not impossible. It's not impossible whatsoever. And I think we can definitely beat them. But Leeds have got to be so efficient. We've got to take our chances when they come. And he's got to find out a proper tactical plan for that midfield. And I think he'd have preferred West Brom, to be honest. But
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Forget about Brooks as well, mate. Forget about Brooks.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I'll say for Brooks, he loves to have a strike at goal, and okay, sometimes he does hit it, but a lot of the times I think you're fucking greedy, you. But if we could have had Brooks, it'd have been great for us. By the way, especially when Rutters, sort of dropped off, I thought he'd have been great. Do you take any? You know me, mate. I don't know. Well, you're a passion merchant for want of a better word, but do you take any confidence from the fact that both League Two and League One playoff finals have been won by teams that failed to beat their opponents in regulation season? Does that give you any confidence? It did me. I can't lie. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it does. It does me. The thing is, mate, I'm known as the most negative Leeds fan on planet Earth, but they do kill me. They do absolutely kill me. Like as in, I try behind closed doors. Like me and mates will chat. Me and Melv Man. I think me and you will chat a lot. I'm in group chats where I am trying to find these little things. Like they kill me in a sense of I'm trying to find the positive. Like what can we do? How can we do it? But yeah, of course, because it's relative, Joe. Like Bolton are a big fish in that pond. They're a massive fish. Oxford United are a tiny fish. They're an absolute tiny fish in that pond. So what they did in particular was so impressive. Score to 0 as well, beating Bolton. They were the favourites. I think, massive. Murphy getting the 2 goals. And yeah, we've got to take stuff from that. Farker's just got to be pragmatic, mate, hasn't he? And I think that we can talk about this, that, and the other. But we do have arguably a better. I don't think we've got a better. I think Southampton have got more of a balance across the whole team. But I think there's an argument that we've got better attacking quality, and that's just got to play into our favour. I'd love our midfield to do what Grove did the other day and actually have a strike on goal every now and again. Showed that it can work the other night. It'd be good to see Kamara do that on the edge of the box a couple of times. But yeah, mate, I think he'll stick with 4-2-3-1, and I think he's gonna look to the team, just putting an increased level of performance in, and I think he's gonna keep with Perot.
Yeah, and do you think he'll go with the same setup then, the same 11, Archie right back, Firpo left back, same centre back partnership? I mean, every man the same. I think no changes in there, would there be?
No, I don't think it's going to be hard. But they were brilliant the other night.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. They were fantastic the other night. You know, I think it is the best performance of the season in the most tense moment. That's a bit of a different mentality. We've not seen that with the Leeds United side before in the playoffs. The biggest playoff semi-final win until, from I think it was 2000. We've got to take that as big plaudits. They're going to be, this lad that I spoke to yesterday, he was worried. He's worried about Leeds. I don't think they're thinking that this is the same Leeds that they played after QPR, and it was only a week and a bit ago. I think they're knowing that this is going to be a different Leeds side. They're pumped. The fans are pumped. I guess, do you know what it is right now, mate? It's youth and exuberance versus experience and guile. That's what it is in this final, and what wins, I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just better win, man. I can't deal with losing and then Russell Martin after.
Don't we? We deserve it. We deserve it.
I think so, yeah.
Come on, just give us some playoff final joy, for God's sake. I mean,
Exactly.
Sunderland, another thing. Sunderland were absolutely turgid at Wembley for years, and they got off their hoodoo. We've got to do it at some point, for Christ's sake.
I know, right? I think it was the first time we'd won a playoff game at Ellen Road since the 80s, bro. I know we haven't. I think it's 5 in total or whatever, but just to think, like, not winning at home, obviously Derby being the most recent time. I think, like you say, just getting through that game, and you mentioned mentality, I questioned it in the running about that's what I think will outdo us, Leicester had it, Ipswich had it from the season before, momentum, and I was saying, like, I think Locks had said mentality midgets, and I was like, do you know what, I can't disagree with you all that much, and to see what they did against Norwich, to come through that with all that pressure, because there was, regardless of how good the crowd is, it comes with a different kind of pressure. There'll be players within that squad that won't have experienced atmospheres like that. Even the likes of, say, like Sir Firpo's been here for a while, although it was at the new camp, sorry, so maybe not so, but, the likes of Rutter, Somerville and co, they've obviously will have experienced that type of cauldron for the first time. So it can do weird things, can pressure. But
who was mentality midgets, by the way?
Leeds United.
All right, okay, interesting. Yeah, best squad the division's ever seen. Probably highest wage structure, and you bottled a 17-point lead at one point. So interesting. Thank God. Thank God.
Shots.
Thank God we had that. Thank God we had that little bit of a blip, mate. And Ipswich had a little bit of a blip at moments afterwards because we'd have stormed that division. So lucky, innit? But yeah, come on, let's be realistic.
We've had a super chat come in. It also said I've got a new member, but I can't find it anyway. So if you are a member and you've just joined, thank you. I can't find you though. Abdul Al-Fuzan says, hello, Joe and Conor. Appreciate all the content from both of you. Tickets for Wembley booked, thankfully. Hope it all goes well. Let's hope it does, man. We, like Conor was saying earlier, we need some Wembley joy for once, don't we? We definitely need some Wembley joy. Big up to Laura Davis as well. I think she said her team had won her league or something, and also as a driving, I can't remember, Laura, but I remember seeing the win in the league. So congrats, and hopefully Leeds United can do the same and go up through the playoffs. It's a much better way anyway, Conor, isn't it? Like, in terms of, I genuinely, and I'm not just saying this because we won the championship in recent times, if you could guarantee me at the start of the season going up at Wembley over winning the league, I'd take it,
Oh,
is that wild?
Yeah, it's just no one wants to go through it, do they? No one wants to go through it. But you are right. You are 100% right. Like, I'd much rather do it. And we've never done it, and even the 93-point season with Bielsa, like, we couldn't celebrate it. Same season as Liverpool won it, wasn't it? Like, Klopp's only win as Premier League manager, and they've been going on all about this weekend. I wish it was with the fans and all this sort of stuff. Same with us, mate. We're all in Millennium Square. Obviously, we remember that and we're together and stuff. But it was a good celebration. But at Wembley, it could be an absolute party, mate. And it's gonna, Man United and Leeds are in London on the same weekend. That is going to be interesting. Has to be said.
It is, mate. I think police have already called it. I think JT said police had already put that weekend on red alert, whatever that means, because obviously you've got Manchester clubs coming on the Saturday and then Leeds. Well, it won't surprise me if all there'll be some fans that'll be there for the full weekend, won't they? Friday to the Sunday probably. So, it could get a little bit naughty. I remember the last time we went to Manchester, they were scrapping that morning when we played Manchester United. I think so. It could get a bit like that. But stay safe, everyone. Make sure you stay safe. Mate, let's flip it forward a bit, because I know obviously you've spoken about it. I spoke about it this morning, and it's been doing the rounds over the last 24 to 48 hours. Josh Sargent's been linked to Leeds United on the back of us beating Norwich. He's wanted by a host of Premier League clubs as well, lower down the table. Don't know how true that is. Agent might be doing a bit of doing a bit of work behind the scenes. But what's key is Norwich City are now out of their parachute payments, aren't they? They're done. That's their 3 years, so they've now lost their parachute payments, which means naturally they're probably going to have to sell some players. He's contracted till 2028. Do you think it's a good pickup? Because I've been quite scathing towards him. I think a lot of it was due to the links during Jesse's time, and it was like, oh, for feck's sake, can we just get someone who's not American? You know what I mean? But having seen him this season, I think he's got 16 goals, 2 assists, and barely played, really. 26 starts. I think he made a lot of injuries. He's almost like the perfect Farker striker. Like, he's what Bamford is, but better and younger, I would say.
Yeah. I'm the same as you, Joe. I was the exact same as you. I think Dean Smith played him out of position, and I think that was a bit of a problem. I think he played him wide for a lot of it, to be honest, and I think that was a bit of the issue. I think, putting him a little bit more central. I think against us, he was playing as a 2 up front. I think he's a really good presser. I think we saw that against us. I think, we're all talking about Somerville, mate. He's had 26 games. He's scored 16 goals and he's got 3 assists. And for a lot of them, he's not been fit. He's not been fit at all. Yeah. So you look at it. Would Leeds stump up that money? They're going to want to make a profit on him. But Norwich are a self-sustained selling club. They bought him for £8 million. They're probably going to make a bit of a profit on him. They're probably going to be looking at £20 million.
Do you think they would want that much? I was thinking more Pirro, me, 10, 12. Am I way off the mark, do you think?
You could be, Joe. You could be right, mate. You could be right. You could, and it is Norwich as well. We have to keep that. We have to bear that in mind. It's another season in the Championship for them. Obviously, if we are in the Championship, that is a lot of money as well. But our Leeds gonna have to, and we've got a lot of money that we have to pay back in instalments this summer. We know that it's not going to be a fire sale. So where is the money for those players going to go? I think the 49ers have spoke about it being a smart summer again. So a Leeds going to outlay that amount of money if we are in the Championship, even if it is sort of 12 to 16 million quid on Josh Sargent. Joe, they spent 12 to 16 million quid on a striker last summer. Are they going to go for another striker? I think they should, but are they going to do that again? I don't know if it's realistic. And I think you go up to the Premier League.
Do you need someone better? Do you need a level above Sargent? Because his time in the Premier League wasn't great, was it? Although it was. He's 21, 22. He's now 24. His games come on, but it is a big ask in the Premier League.
Yeah, it is. It's a big ask, and I think his ceiling's high. He's 24, isn't he? I think his ceiling's high. I like him a lot. I really, really like Sargent. For this season, I can't just BS like last season. I wasn't impressed with him whatsoever. I thought he was a bit of a donkey, but he's developed so much this season that you're looking at him and thinking his finishing's got better. He's aggressive. He's a lot of what you'd want. The interesting thing is it's going to be Farker, because Farker bloody loves him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate. But yeah, Premier League, you feel if we were in the Championship, I'd love him 100%. Premier League, he could be in a Premier League team, but would he be starting week in, week out? I don't think so.
Sometimes as well, you've got to be like, we will be linked to players, and people will say, he's pish, he's crap. I think a perfect case that we've seen in recent times in the Premier League is Jean-Philippe Mateta. Because this guy couldn't score for toffee. Glasner's gone in there, and he's got 2 hat-tricks in 11 games. He's scored nearly 15, 16 goals. I think he's scored the most goals in the Premier League since Glasner came in. And it just shows you, with the right manager, with the right setup, you can just suddenly switch. Do you know what I mean? We've seen it with Bamford ourselves, really, bro. Without Bielsa, and you could maybe even put Calvin in there, neither of them get an England call-up ever, really.
But what then? What would you do then? So if they hypothetically they kept, I don't know, let's say Perot. I don't think Perot will be moved on. I think that they're not going to do that either way.
Do you not think Yes, I was going to ask you that as well, because obviously I sort of would get it if we got promoted and they said, listen, we're willing to listen to offers for Pirro, give us what we paid for him, you can have him. I would get it. I would get it because he hasn't worked this season. It's took him, as long as it has for it to look like it's worked. 'Cause even when he was scoring, Connor, it still looked disjointed for me in the early parts of the season. So, do you not think they will do that even if we got promoted? You don't think they'd give it a look?
Yeah, I don't think Pirro works in the Prem. I don't know about you. I don't think Pirro works in the Prem. Does Bamford work in the Prem again? There's an argument that he's an option, but I don't know with Bamford, an option off the bench definitely. I've always thought, I would look at moving him on, but my mindset is would have him in the starting 11, not in the Prem, no way near in the Prem, but as an option off the bench potentially. But then you're looking at going out and getting a couple of strikers. Maybe like if Pirro and Bamford were to both go, do you then go for a Sargent and a Cameron Archer? I don't know. It's one of those sort of conversations that they're going to be having. But I just hope, Joe. I felt a lot of the time with Radriz, the gang with Rads and Orta, a lot of it was based on sentiment, mate. I hope, and I know they're cool, calm, and collected, the 49ers, and they believe in what they've done at the start. And there's definitely a conversation for not throwing everything out the pram in the first year and in second year. But we've got a bit of evidence here with some players. And Pirro, for me, doesn't fit the Farke system, even though we had the performance the other night. I don't know if he does that long term, especially in the Prem. I don't think Pirro's a Premier League player at all, to be honest with you. But Bamford as well. He's 31 this year, I think, or next year. And I think it is this year. I think there's an argument, mate. We bring two strikers in. There is, but what will Leeds do is in my head. I think they'll keep hold of at least one of them.
You've got to think what this does for Joseph as well, right? I think the mad thing is if we stayed down, I think you've got to make him number one. You've got to make him your main man. That's what I would be looking to do, because it won't be long before he gets sick of it and says, well, I'm going to go somewhere else and get minutes because he's scoring for England. Then he defects to Spain and he scores for Spain. He scores against Chelsea. Yeah. So he can score goals and there'll be clubs willing to give him the opportunity to do that. So I think if we stay down, he needs to be given the opportunity. And if we go to the Premier League again, he gets, minutes off the bench. But I do think we need a 9, whether or not that's Sargent. That's the only worrying thing is, like, with Sargent, you're not guaranteeing success, but then again, can a newly promoted side really buy a player that guarantees them success? I'm not too sure.
And like if you add as well, like if Joseph's first season, let's say he's starting week in, week out, and Joseph gets, I don't know, let's say if we're in the Championship still, touch wood we're not, but let's say if we are, and he gets 15 to 20 goals, it's probably a success in his first season. Like, but it's very, very different looking at Joseph in comparison to a Pirro, I think. It's very, very different. He's proven it a couple of times before. I think Joseph in the system, we could see like a little bit of longevity there as an out-and-out number 9.
Yeah.
Pirro, 14 goals, yeah. But I think a lot of people will just see the 14 goals and not look at the performances. Yeah, to be honest, exactly. I think Ars Ripper, I think, oh God, yeah, I've just said it, sorry. But yeah, he's on my chat as well, and he said something similar, 14 goals, he's been a success. I don't think it's
as linear.
I don't think you can just look at that, to be honest. No. I don't know about you, but
no, 100%, and that's why I defend Bamford at times when he hasn't scored. I remember someone, who did we play? Southampton, and I'd mentioned how poor Pirro had been, and someone in my chat said, "You're deluded. What game were you watching? He scored a goal and that." And I was thinking, but he was rubbish outside of that. And I think sometimes it's like, if a striker doesn't score, then he's had a rubbish game, which sometimes.
Well, mate, it's like the Southampton game, right? He was completely anonymous for 75, 85 minutes, but he scored a goal. So then I was seeing afterwards that he'd had a good game, and it's like he's just not had a good game. Like, what I was watching a different game,
No, he hadn't, mate. I agree. He hadn't. Just obviously looking ahead. I can't wait for this week to be done, Connor. If we go up or not, so then we can tell where we're going to be. Because I feel like now the Prem's.
Me and you can go on holiday.
Yeah, there's that as well. I'm actually going on holiday this year for the first time in a long time. Malaga, baby. Yeah, looking forward to that. But we need to know what division we're in, because now that the Premier League's done as well, everyone's just gearing up for next season. Just with a view to ahead, obviously, we know we need a 9, ideally. Well, where else are you looking to strengthen outside of that? Are you wanting 2 fullbacks? Because Firpo's done enough for me, and I know I'm a passion merchant, and I know I'm recency biased, but seeing the flip on him, he's done enough for me to warrant a couple more years personally.
Yeah, he was. I think he's really good for this level, mate. I think you know he's proven it, and I think it's maybe a little bit different with some other players, because with Firpo, I think a lot of it, Joe, was for me anyway. It was his positional awareness, where he'd sometimes just go into like flight mode, where he just stands still, and it'd be like, you know, Junior, you're playing a game here. You're supposed to be a left back, not left striker. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think he'd lose the plot a little bit, especially in the Premier League, and he'd just get punished for it. I think at this level, he's managed to stay fit, Joe, which is massive. It's the biggest asset in football, isn't it? And could be another reason why he moved Bamford on, because just that injury record is just awful. But, Perot's been excellent. Firpo's been excellent. He's actually been... Every single video I've done, I've been like, Firpo, nobody can criticize. No, you can't. He's been excellent. No. He's been absolutely... The QPR game, he was the best player. Southampton game, he was one of the best players. Post-international break, he's been one of the only ones who's turned up. So the other night as well, what a lot of people aren't looking at as well, Joe, that is... What is it? That's nearly 200 minutes, over 200 minutes where he's kept Johnny Rowe quiet. That's some achievement. That is some achievement this season. But, yeah, mate, I think... I'd be looking at quite a bit. Goalkeeper. We've got to be looking at Rodon, mate. You know, are you saying this? Are you asking me if we stay down? If we stay down, what?
No, either really, bro. But okay. I think there's a conversation that even if we stay down, we can get Rodon. You know, because I look at the Premier League, and outside of the newly promoted teams in Leicester and Ipswich, where does he go? Because I don't think there's many that he improves. And I mean that, again, this is where Leeds fans can sometimes get overgassed. I look at someone like Palace, for example. They've got Joachim Andersen and Mark Guehi. You know, you look at further down the table, not even Nottingham Forest. You know, they've got Danilo and others that just Rodon can't chat to. I think Danilo's midfield. But you get what I'm saying. It's like the lower end, I don't think sometimes Justin says Everton. He doesn't improve Tarkowski and Bramthwaite. Not a chance, does he? Not for me, anyway. No. So I think there's a chance we keep him even if we stay down. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think I'd go 2 fullbacks. I think I'd go at least a striker, like we've spoken about. So that's 3. I'd sometimes, I don't know about you, but you look at the centre back depth, Joe. So Rodon, okay, that might happen. Cooper's probably going to go. Cresswell's going to go. Who else have we got here?
Are you disappointed to see how Cresswell's season's gone? Because I thought he would start and really...
Yeah, I am, mate. I just thought, you know, we're talking about Firpo at this level. And look, you're going to get loads of people to say, back the manager, 100%. Look at what... Cresswell should be out. He's done this. He's the blah, 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 blah. And we don't really know. We don't really know what's happened, but we know the proof is in the pudding that at Millwall against a lot of these teams in the division who are riff-raff. He did pretty well. And they wanted him back. And then there was, hey, look, Joe, me and you were doing our transfer stuff in January. Who wanted him in January, apparently? Ipswich. They were all after him, and Leeds just wouldn't let him go. I didn't really see the point in keeping him, to be honest with you, because we just never play him. So, I've been really disappointed, mate, to be honest with you. But, look, it is what it is. You know, we deal with that, don't we? But I think there's an argument, mate, for 2 centre-backs. There's an argument there, depending on what happens with Rodon. Do we look at another midfielder? Don't know. Do you look at another midfielder, or does Grev and Kamara just sail through? I think, mate, there's a fair bit to do, but I think Leeds can do it. I think we've got the right people. It's going to be Jordan Miles' his first transfer window. He's going to be wanting to make a little bit of an imprint. I think all of this, even if we have 5-6 players that we need to bring in because of contracts expiring, because of players leaving, which I think there will be quite a churn regardless. I think it's more than doable. I think Leeds can do it. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, no, I do. Could you not see someone similar, or if not the same player, in someone like Gus Hamer? Could you not go get him out from Sheffield United now that they've been relegated. He's been one of their better performers. Leeds United wanted him. Phil Hay said as much, and then the Premier League came calling, so of course he was going to move there. Centre-back we're going to need anyway, because you're looking at Cooper probably not getting a new deal now, so you've got Strauch, Creswell, Ampadu really on the books. So if you're going to make
Joe Strauch as well, who, let's be honest, over 5, we love Strauch, we've missed him, but he misses 10-12 games a season.
Yeah, he's had a few now, and he's had a few cases where he's been injured for sure. So you definitely need to improve that. And we were linked to centre backs, weren't we? We were linked to Joe Worrell at Forest. We were linked to even bloody Chris Mepham at one point. They were looking at that as an option, and we only ended up with Roberts, but they were definitely looking at centre-backs. There was a guy who played at Hammarby. I forget his name now.
Ajay.
Yeah.
And there was Matt, was it Phillips as well? Nat Phillips was rumoured all the time, wasn't he? Yeah, he's a bit garbage.
Yeah. Just a bit, mate. But yeah, we probably do. We definitely need 2 new fullbacks, because you're looking at
that's 2 goalkeeper for you
in the Premier League. Yeah,
Championship. You keep Melier?
I think so. Yeah,
so
just as well. Farkas is the best keeper in the league. He's not going anywhere, is he, mate? Let's be honest.
And I think there's a bit of a link there with Jukanovic, because obviously we didn't move on that. When he's probably worth that quid.
Yeah, mad, weren't it? It was mad. Then. Obviously, if we stay down, you're then having to replace Nonto and Somerville. That's a given, because they will go. I mean, I look at someone like... The loans are there. Look at Amari Hutchinson at Ipswich, what he did in the running, man. What a player. And I know Ipswich will fight tooth and nail to get him now. But I said before, if Leeds United get promoted, try Gazumpton. He's that good. Try get him ahead of Ipswich. But if we stay down, what my point is, there is loans there. There is loans there. That, again, I still feel Leeds United haven't operate. We never did it under Rads, and we haven't really done it. Yeah, we went and got Rodon. But when I'm talking about loans, I'm talking about them young,
I agree,
up and coming players at your Cities, at your Chelseas. Other clubs, like Derby did it when they went and got Harry Wilson, Mason Mount, Tomori. We've never done that. Why don't we go? Ipswich have done it this season with Amari Hutchinson and co. So Sheffield United did it. Even Southampton have done it. Whereas we got, we went and got Rodon, but outside of that, who did we get that was...
It does feel like sometimes with Leeds, I don't know if you feel this as well, Joe, but it feels sometimes we sort of like stick our nose up to it. It's like we can do
why should we improve someone else's player?
We can almost do better than that. And it's like, lad, there is so many unbelievable young players, so many good young players. But I think the last one, I mean, people are saying Ben White in the chat. I don't think any of us... I mean, I was having an absolute meltdown when we had Ben White. I don't know if you were. I can't remember. Me and you might have been doing stuff together at that point. But I was having Janssen had been sold to Brentford, and we'd only brought this lad in who'd been at, what was it? I can't remember.
Peterborough, mate. Peterborough.
And I was like, oh my God, is this it? Is this what we're doing going into next season? And obviously, he turned out to be the best,
But even that Ben White isn't the same as what, like, let's not forget, folks, he was at Brighton. He went to Newport, but then Brighton bought him. Then they loaned him to Peterborough. I'm talking about,
probably Eddie won it, Joe. Probably Eddie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
probably that's the only that's the only one I can. Yeah, I agree with you though. But that, like, I know it sounds daft, but even we're looking at number 10, and is he out of contract? I think this. Why don't we just go balls deep for Callum O'Hare? Do you know what I mean? Something like that. You just look at that, and I think that would be lovely. That would be a really nice addition. And there's a fair few players out of contract who are good players who we could look at as well.
Yeah, no, I'd love... I really dislike him, but he's one of them that if he plays for your team, you love him, don't you? He's a baller.
Imagine him as the Leeds Jack Grealish. Lovely.
I think Villa have been linked with him, but I don't know if he's making that leap. Is he their Champions League now? I don't.
Don't even start for Cov, really, does he?
Nah. He's bits and bats, isn't he? So, yeah, but there's no doubt players out there that we can go and get. And I agree with you. I said it with the on my Sargent video this morning. I remember mocking Brentford when they signed Ben Mee after Burnley went down. We were still in the Ben Mee, he's crap. Meat and potatoes, Tarkovsky. When you got Everton, and then you look at it and you think, No, actually, they were really smart signings. You know,
They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. This is the point. So,
but we still
need to also
hold
be
some.
rid of that.
We still hold some weight though, don't we? Like, I mean, I saw something early on, and I wanted to kind of bring it up. Obviously, Leicester, squad wise, probably the best we'll ever see at this level. I think they had to make it work. Southampton, extremely good squad. Ipswich were just next level. But I think what Ipswich have proven, Joe, and what we saw with Bielsa as well, is if you've got a really good coach and you've got a really good unit and you've got some, decent loan structure in there, Kiefer Morsami, and so Amari Hutchinson, players like that, you can do it. You don't have to spend amount of money. I know the statistics will back that up, and it'll be like, to be fruitful in football, you have to spend a load of money. But really, at championship level, you can get it right. You can get, and I think next season as well. I've spoken about these teams coming down being championship ready, and they are. But let's be brutally honest as well. Sheffield United, that squad is not going to look the same at the start of next season. Burnley, are they going to be with Vincent Kompany? There's been loads of rumours Brighton are going to go in for him. There is a lot of change that happens with relegated teams. That happened to us. So is the division going to be a little bit weaker next season? These are Hull have been stripped of Liam Rosenior. Is that going to affect them? They're going to lose Philogene, and they're going to lose all of these players. Norwich are going to lose Gabi Sarra, probably Josh Sargent. So a lot of these teams are going to be disarmed. So I don't think worst case scenario we're in the championship. It's going to be such a hellish division, but they've got to get it right, mate. They have to get it right.
100%. I think you bang on the mad thing is the one that's probably best equipped for me is Luton, because they have a championship side in the Premier League. I think Burnley tried to do too much too soon with the overturn of the squad, was wild, and there'll be players within that Burnley setup that'll leave. Will someone come for James Trafford, for example? People were saying he was the next England #1 and all this, so there's that. Sheffield United, I just feel financially they ain't great. I know they've got the parachute payments, but then again, they've been linked now to the goalkeeper at Sunderland, who we were linked to, Patterson, so they're starting to make moves, but I'm not overly concerned about Sheffield United. But Luton are, I think, oven ready, because I don't think many will come in for their players. Maybe you're looking at Alfie Doherty or something like that, but out of that, I don't know what happens with Barkley, but they've got a championship squad. But outside of that, I agree, Connor. I think if we did stay down, I would expect Leeds United from game one to be romping this league. I know you can't win them all, but my expectations then would be like, right, if you don't win this league now, then something's not right, because I just think the league, even who's coming up, Portsmouth, Oxford, and I'm not sure who else, right? I'm not sure even on the quality of those that are coming up. So I think, and I've said this before, that if whoever doesn't go up out of Southampton and Leeds romps the league next season, as long as they keep continuity. I know Southampton will lose players, as will we, but I think behind the scenes we're bringing the right players. But it just so happens Leeds United find themselves in a fecking division where, three teams got 90.
It's always the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always Leeds United getting.
Oh, Derby are back. Derby, that's it. Derby.
No. Do you know what? I cannot. I don't know if you feel this way, mate, but and everybody in the chat, like, I can't stand Man United with all of my being. But I've never, like, all the tin pot clubs who hate Leeds, we're the most hated team in the country. We know we are. We see all of them in your chat anyway, who are from different clubs who like to just follow Leeds United. But it's one of those where we are hated, never ignored, but hated, and they'll love it if we lose this weekend. We will get so
100%.
much crap this weekend if we lose in comparison to what Southampton will get. But I tell you what, Joe, Derby, just because of those two legs, I have such a hatred for them, and there is no rationale behind it. They're not close to us. I wouldn't actively say I care about them, but there is just after that playoff final and that whole thing with Bielsa. Oh man, mate, the hatred I have for them is it's so magnified. I don't know if you feel the same, mate.
No, I think mine more so left them and just on Frank Lampard, the individual, really. I think that's where mine goes to. Because when he was getting all these jobs, I was thinking, if he ever gets that England job, I'm not supporting England while he's there. Like, I can't stand him that much. But you're right, mate. Like, I put my playoff highlights on Instagram from the watch along, and A Derby fan came on there and was like, what score last time you played off at Ellen Road? And I went, but did you go up? And he went, no. And I went, well, it was for nothing, wasn't it, really? So be quiet, man.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. They love that, man. They love that. And but this is the thing, Connor. We are the team in the Championship to get shot at. So that's teams do raise their game. You know. What
about quick one as well? Because I know we're approaching now, but quick. What do you think about the Southampton pitch invasion in comparison to Leeds being cool, calm, and calculated fan base and the players? Do you think that's going to play any part in this? It looks very, very interesting, didn't it?
Say that again for me, sorry, bro.
So obviously the mentality side of things, the end of the Southampton game, where all the the fans invaded the pitch, the players they looked a little bit more celebratory than the Leeds players did, and the fans in particular. It was still, I felt at the end of the game the other night, I stayed behind. It was everyone was just chill. Jorginho got very, very excited, but he calmed down.
He's a young lad, and he's giddy. He was
giddy. But I just thought to myself, it was. You had Firpo going one more game and all this sort of stuff, and it just felt quite calm. It felt quite placid. And Southampton, you're looking at those scenes and the players and stuff, and I don't know. Is there anything there?
For me, no, there is 100%. You compare Southampton at the end to Leeds United, and you had the all of Ellen Road singing songs. Yeah, I predict a riot, and on the centre circle. You had a group of players together. Liam Cooper barking, one more fucking goal, one more fucking... Archie stood in the middle. And that, for me, just made me go, yeah, man, these aren't done yet. They know. And do you know what? Do you know what will have really pissed them off? Because it pissed the Leicester players off. Look how much them Leicester players got wrangled by I Predict a Riot and what Georgie said about being the best team in the league when we beat them, right? They used that ultimately. They used that because as soon as they got promoted... They were there. Know that Leeds United, really, for the last 2 weeks of the season, them players got mocked. They got mocked, man, by fans, but also by other fellow professionals. You had that Jackson dude, Leeds are falling apart again. Ampadu and that are probably going, what the fuck? The amount of time that Paul Rutter got clipped up for saying, we are the best team in this league, which at that time we were. I think they'll have really taken that to heart and know that if we do go up, receipts will be returned, and I cannot wait for that day.
Have you got some bookmarks? Yeah.
Oh, bro, bookmarks. I'm buying a big fat cigar because we're going to be smoking the Championship pack. If we go up,
I've got a filing cabinet.
Oh man, I will light that cigar because the funniest thing is, Connor, and it is if, folks. So please caveat this: if we go up. Out of the 3 promoted teams, we will finish the highest because Leicester will have a points deduction and Ipswich might lose Kieran McKenna. So I think, and then imagine that next season where them two are relegated and we're going to I predict to right.
Mate, they're gonna get, in my opinion. I like Ipswich a lot, but they're going to get obliterated in the Prem. I think they're going to get absolutely obliterated. I think they'll lose McKenna quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that squad with where it's a League One squad. There's an argument even our Championship side was better equipped with Bielsa because we had a higher standard of play because we were in the Championship when he took over. McKenna's really got a League One set. Obviously, he's improved them drastically, but getting to the Premier League with that lot, I mean, we know how ruthless it is, Joe. How 100%. Ruthless it is and the amount of goals they conceded. So I completely agree. I think we get up there because we have so many quality young players as well that to build on that. Will give you a much better foundation. We're much better set up than we were under Bielsa.
Yeah, look at Ipswich, mate. They've got Wolfenden and Burgess at the back. They will get eaten alive. Leif Davis, great going forward, but defensively, not great. Will get eaten alive from right wingers in the division. The best players in the league for me are on the right. Your Sackers, your Foden plays out there sometimes. Bernardo Silva, Salas, etc. So he will get cooked. They've got Twanzebe who's been playing at right back. Again, he's injury prone.
He's on loan. He's on loan, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. From is it Manchester United?
Yeah.
I think.
Harry Clark, who's the other fullback, who just gets torn apart.
Exactly. And even in midfield, Luongo, Morsey, as good as they've been, they're Championship players. Bro, they're Championship.
Imagine them in the Prem.
This is what I'm saying. So they need to invest a lot of money if they're to stay in there. For me, because as good as a buy Kiefer Moore was, let's say they make him permanent. Yeah. We've already got history to show that he won't do it in the Prem on a regular basis enough to keep a team in the division. So yeah, they need to do a lot of biz. And if I'm Kieran McKenna, as much as you're like, oh, I want to be loyal, if Brighton come a knocking, then you leave. Because
It's Brighton as well. Like
yeah,
the foundation, the chairman, you know, they're a big club in that region of the world as well. 30,000 every week. Like, and he'll be given a decent portion. And Joe, the scouts that he'll have there as well. Like the
100%.
players.
Yeah, I think McKenna would be silly to turn down the Brighton job if it did become available. 100%. 100%. Right, mate. Well, I think we've done an hour and 4 minutes. We've topped out at about 750 people, which is great for this time of day, folks. Connor is the lucky guy because next week, when we're celebrating promotion, we're going to be on his channel. So next Monday, we'll be on One Leeds doing the Counterpoint. I mean, oh, it's going to be rough if we don't, but we will be there. We will be there.
You're going to have to big me up because I'm in a foul mood.
I can imagine, bro.
Foul. And likely hungover, so you have to big me up.
Yeah, therefore. Listen, this week, folks, I've got a Southampton preview. I'm actually chatting. I've been asked on the second tier pod, and they've been battering Leeds all season. So I've got Ryan Dilks to agree to come on mine. So we'll be quizzing him why he hates Leeds so much. Yeah, there's that.
Derby fan, isn't he? He's a Derby fan.
Big Derby fan, mate. Yeah, so it's probably that. But what have you got going on your channel? Have you got Ellis coming back? What have you got planned this week?
Yeah, mate, Ellis is back. We've got LUFC Lewis coming on as well, getting his thoughts over. And then we've got Brownie coming back on Thursday.
Nice.
So yeah, mate.
Plenty to preview.
Well, we might sneak you in at some point if we can get you on.
Yeah,
we have to pay Joe to get him on the channel. So
this is not true, don't, because people will take that and believe that shit. Nah, listen, I'm free, mate, so just give me a shout. This week is pretty free because it's going to be a busy week. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Check out One Leeds. Subscribe here if you aren't already. And we will see you in a bit. Peace out, folks.